Oh, wow. This is the Cyrusher Kommoda 2.0. It is a full suspension fat tire e-bike with a step-through frame and 20 by 4-inch tires. It has a Shimano 7-speed drivetrain going to a 750 watt rear hub motor with a torque sensor. There is an optional throttle on the right side of the handlebars. The rack looks sturdy and the bike has a payload capacity of 350 pounds. Other features include hydraulic disc brakes, an adjustable stem, lights, and fenders. The battery is located in the down tube and it is easy to remove using the key. You can also charge it with the battery in the bike using the charge port on the side of the frame. The unboxing and assembly process was pretty easy and straightforward. It was well packaged with plenty of protection and included the tools needed to put it together. Okay, enough talk, it's time to go ride it. I decided to test the rack first with some RC cars, so we rode out to our woods with 2 axial riffs on the back, strapped with a couple bungee cords. They stayed on without much effort to strap them on, so we're going to try those out later, but for now it's time to ride a little bit. We're going to start with the hill test, throttle only, see if Hannah can make it up this one, and it slows down quite a bit at the top, but she's up. My turn now, and I don't think it's going to make it using throttle only, but there's only one way to find out, and it's slowing to a stop, but if I start pedaling, then I can make it, even though it's pretty muddy. Now for a bit of a downhill rocky test, see if it can get through those. Actually, not so bad. The smaller tires are more likely to get hung up on rocks like that, but the full suspension helps and it actually rolled through that better than I expected, so let's check out some slow-mo. Speaking of full suspension, might as well test it out with a bit of a drop and a jump. Handles it okay. Definitely bottomed out though. Well, it handled that jump and drop just fine. I wouldn't want to go a whole lot bigger than that, so I think it's time to get technical. One nice thing about this is that you can get the seat really low and out of the way. It's also very easy with this quick release clamp. Okay, we have a log crossing here into a hill and a log up the hill. It's just a true test of power. Oh, that's pretty tough, but made it to the top. Now a tight turn and head back down. I did catch the chain ring there, so try to clear it on that one. There we go. First try clean. Going to do it again here for another view and hopefully clean it up a bit on this downhill. There we go. And oh my gosh. So much for cleaning it up. As you can see here, I did bend the chainring guard when I smashed it, but I think the chainring is okay. So I'm just going to try to bend it back and should be back in business. Okay, this time, hopefully smooth all the way through. Slow it down here a little bit. Okay, not that smooth, but good enough. Those 20-inch wheels do make it feel lighter, which helps for stuff like that. See if I can do a fakie here. That's another good test. Oh, wow. Pretty solid, pretty light to flick back around. Okay, now I'm riding the RC Endurocross track, and this first lap, I'm going to use throttle only, and then I'll use pedaling only and see how they compare, see which one's easier. Actually, it wasn't too bad using throttle. I was able to do everything I needed to, but pedaling, I should have more control over how much power I'm putting out. And that torque sensor definitely helps, so you don't get more than you want. Oh, a little sloppy at the end there. Oh no. Okay, now what we're really out here for, some RC. Just wanted to show a lap to compare and see how the lap times line up, see who's faster. Oh, a little mistake there, but it'll be interesting how close the bike is to the RC. While I probably could have been faster in all 3 of those laps, it is pretty interesting to see how close they were. If you want to see more RC action, you can check out my other channel, PSF RC. Speaking of RC, we are going again, but I put them on a trailer this time, just to see how well it would pull, and seems to be doing no problem, even though it looks like she is using throttle only. How was your first time trailering?
That's an interesting word. It went really, actually decent. I was just a little afraid I was gonna bump some RC cars out, but this was a smooth ride.
Don't worry, they're tough. It's Hannah's turn now, and we are on our mountain bike trails. These are pretty mellow, but should suit the bike pretty well. We have some tight sections coming up, so we'll see how controllable the power really is. Torque sensor should help, and she is in the lowest gear on the derailleur. Looks like she caught the chainring on that log like I had issues with. That's one thing you really got to watch out for on this bike when you're going over technical terrain like rocks and logs. Look like she got through this really easily though. The smaller size frame and the smaller tires and wheels definitely help in these tight situations compared to some of the other similar bikes. The torque sensor also helps a lot, being able to control that power. It doesn't just go as fast as it wants to, it gives you what you are putting into it. So it's a little more progressive of a feel, more natural of a feel. Not quite as good as a mid motorbike, but a step up from the basic rear hub motorbikes. She's in assist level 4, so could have more power if she wanted. She probably doesn't necessarily need it in this situation though. For a step through frame, it is also pretty stiff, so not a lot of flex, which is actually good, especially in stuff like this where you're leaning the bike. You don't get any surprises that way. There are some rocks. Get to test out that suspension. How'd it feel?
Okay.
The tires do have quite a bit of air in them, so that doesn't help. You could get more suspension out of that fat tire, especially her being lighter compared to me. When I was riding it, probably should have let some out for that rocky section, but should be good enough to get around this trail anyway. The suspension is not going to be as good as her other bike that she's used to, and probably what she would be comparing it to. It seems like the rear shock is pretty stiff as well, which was good for me, but it's probably not moving as much as it was for me when she's riding it. I didn't even notice it before, but there is a rear brake light. When she uses the brake, that rear tail light lights up. Nice safety feature if you are in town with cars around.
I heard the comment about you letting air out of the tires. I think that probably would have helped me a lot, just because it was pushing me around and bouncing me around a little bit. But overall, I thought it was pretty smooth, and I was able to get through the corners really well. How
did the size feel for you?
To me, the sizes are good just because it's the step through style. I like the step through.
Definitely easy on and off that way, and really didn't seem to hinder the performance of the bike itself. How about you push down in the seat and see if you can get the suspension to move at all?
All right, I'll try with my hands first.
That looks pretty stiff. How about your whole body weight? Still not moving. But one thing I didn't even think about is that it is air adjustable. So we're going to let some air out, get a softer ride, and see how she feels about it then. Now give it a push. Oh, there we go, super soft. Let's see how it rides. We are back to the rocks to see if that suspension change makes any difference. She looks a little more unstable actually. I think she hit it faster, but how did it feel?
Softer, like it wasn't like hard as a rock.
Smoother.
Yeah.
Softer and smoother, that's good. But when the suspension is softer, you do have to watch your pedals even more and your chainring even more, because those will drop down closer to the ground when that suspension compresses. So it's a bit of give and take, but you definitely want it moving rather than a hardtail if you want to get the most comfort out of it. Now she's going to try this new rock section. She hasn't hit with any bike, but she hits the chainring really hard. Take two, a little different lines, see if it clears, and it does on the first one, but catches on the second one. She got through it though. Now we are riding on our lane, and this is probably what the bike is best suited for. It can handle some mountain bike trails, but you definitely have to be aware of that low chainring, especially when the suspension is soft enough to do its job like it is now. There are some small bumps, and I can see it moving to smooth them out, so must be a pretty nice ride, huh?
Oh yeah, I'm just cruising.
It's great for just cruising, that's for sure. Okay, let's see how fast this thing goes. Going to start off on throttle only, see how long it takes to get up to speed. I will say when I first took this out, it was cutting off at about 20, but I was able to go into the settings and adjust things to get more speed out of it. Although all I'm getting right now is 20. That is surprising. There's a slight headwind. Now it's starting to pick up. I guess it's just slow to get there using throttle only, but Might be the wind holding me back as well. Slight downhill there put me at 24. I should expect more like 28, but maybe I'll get that going the other direction when I have a tailwind rather than a slight headwind. But now I will let off the throttle, start pedaling, and see if I can get going faster. Up to 26. Should be able to hit 28 even though I am heading uphill. There is 28, a little more. Seems like the gearing is set for right about 28 too. I'm spinning the pedals pretty fast to get that speed. Slight uphill slowed me down a bit, but at least I hit 28. Now I'm going the other direction, so I have a bit of a tailwind, and it shows 28.5 on the bike. And the phone here reads 26, maybe 27 here and there, 25. So the bike reads a little bit higher than the phone. Take that for what it's worth. But now at least I'm hitting maximum speed with using throttle only. So it was a case of a slight headwind holding me back from hitting that top speed earlier. Oh, there's 29 with a slight downhill. Overall, I like this bike more than most of the other similar bikes that I have tested in this price range. There are a few advantages over those other bikes for my use case, including the brakes, which I did not even mention throughout this video because they were strong enough that I did not have any problems with them. So I think I'm going to keep it around for a while. If you want to learn more about this bike or pick one up for yourself, you can check out the link in the description below. There's even a personalized discount code you can use to save some money. Thanks for watching.